Now then, it's really an argument to suggest that just might be a double-edged sword for Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. So Amorim, in the build-up to this huge game, was asked whether it would really be better if United didn't qualify for the Champions League. This was his response.
We need more time with the team. We need to arrange a lot of things in Carrington that we need more time to not thinking game by game by game by game. And then you have the squad. We proved this year that we need to be a better squad if we want to win European games and then to be really competitive during the Premier League. This is going to be tough. So my feeling is that it's going to be really bad. I don't want to use that as an excuse. It's going to be really tough. And the patience of the fans and you guys, if we don't win it, next year is going to be in the limit and we have to be perfect to continue everything. I know that. So it's not going to be, it's not better in that way.
It would actually, in other ways, increase the pressure on you.
Yeah, for sure. If we don't win it, that is clear, but I'm not concerned about that.
Talks too much.
I mean,
Talks
what
too
did you
much.
say? Talks too much.
Talks too much. Yeah.
Talks too much.
I mean,
I mean, he's so negative there.
Well, he's building in insulations. If I read what he's saying rightly, that next year he'll be under lots of pressure and expectation. No one would expect them to win the Champions League next year. No one would expect them to go deep in it. He has the luxury of a low expectation. So this is like the Labour government at the beginning of their tenure telling everyone that the economy was so bad and so dreadful, and no one can work out the logic of that, because if you want something to be better, you talk it up, you don't talk it down, you build confidence. But he seems to be steering into an idea, and I don't know whether I don't know what the brief was for him. I don't know whether the Man United hierarchy is sitting there allowing him to fill the vacuum in any way he sees fit. Because he seems to spend on, and I've never seen a Man United manager seeming to be making so many quotes, so many observations, giving the media so much content, and they all have a responsibility to do a lot of media. But there seems to be a daily staple diet of something that seems to be not really about building Manchester United up. We all would like the luxury of time, and the suggestion that not being in the Champions League next year is a good thing because they need more time is just preposterous. For a side of Man United's stature, class, and potential expenditure, and I don't know if I don't know what the briefing is. I don't know whether he's gone rogue, whether there is a change of direction. I'm assuming they're allowing him to say this. I'm assuming they must be comfortable with him saying it. I'm not sure I would be comfortable with what he's saying. I'm not sure that I'd want him to start writing checks that he knows he can't cash yet, but I'd want him to get the balance right, because all I hear from this fellow is one thing after another about the expectation. He's talking to the gallery, which is the fans will expect. No, the fans are realistic. If you don't know that now, you've got more realism amongst these Man United fans than you've probably had in 2 generations, in terms of the last 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
Because they're so beat downtrodden and beaten up by the reality of what Man United has become, that no one expects them in Man United to win the Champions League. What they want their team to be, Man United, at this moment in time, and he's in a very luxurious position. They want them to be competitive. Who would have ever thought that during the Premier League era that the conversation would have moved now towards Man United being competitive?
Yeah.
Now that's where they are, and so now, for him to make it even worse than that, to suggest that these expectations are going to put him under pressure, you are managing Manchester United. You should be under pressure, and you should also be making a better fist of it than you currently are. And so, with all that in mind, you know, I don't know what to make of him, because I think that some of the things that he says, people are portraying it as a breath of fresh air. They think it's authentic. I don't think it's authentic at all. I think
he's not coming from a strong standpoint either, Simon. When you say the brief at the moment is to make Manchester United competitive, well, he's failed there. They've lost 17 and 36 in the Premier League. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, does this not smack of a guy who's already been told, even if you win the Champions League, you ain't getting much of the money next season?
Europa League. No, I don't believe that to be the case.
Even if you win the Europa League and get Champions League money, you ain't getting much of it. You're not going to see much of it.
But we heard yesterday,
he's getting his excuses in early.
But we heard Alex Crook yesterday. I mean, insofar as we know the details of these things and they're not part of the rumour mill, rather than the informed part of it, that there was going to be a lot of money spent at Man United, despite the protestations of They've got to rebalance their squad. They've got a lot of things they've got to get rid of. They've got to get rid of Rashford probably. They've got to get rid of Sancho probably. They've got to get rid of probably Rasmus Højlund. They've got to get rid of Casemiro. They've got to shake it up. And they've got to get these off the wage bill as well as trying to get some dough in for them. But there's no shortage of cash. There might be some challenges around PSR, but let's not be silly. There's no shortages of cash there. If Jim Ratcliffe and or the Glazers want to pony up some money on whatever terms they pony it up on, whether it's a loan to the football club or not, there's plenty of working cash around if they want it.
Yeah.
Now, this guy has got to be judged by next season. It's always been the case. I said for the last 2 or 3 months, for what my opinion's worth, that there's no parallel universe that he's going to be sacked. We've been sort of saying he's going to get sacked in the summer. And I think, again, Alex came on yesterday and said Man United will not be sacking Ruben Amorim during the summer, whether they lose the Europa League or not. Now, maybe that's right, maybe it's wrong. I think it's right. I think that he'll be given some time to build a side. I think he'll be given sufficient amount of resources during the summer to remodel it into his own look and feel. But I do think if I were his immediate superiors, I'd want to pack some of this nonsense in. I know you've got to fill the vacuum. I know that ultimately you're filling the vacuum with content. And given the fact that it's not your first language, you're going to find sometimes some faux pas and some tripping over one's tongue. But I think that some of the things that he's coming out with are just silly and not representative of the situation, and trying to create an outcome that I cannot work out what the benefit is. What the benefit is.
In the time we've got left in this one, though, I mean, we know that he's stepped in. He's going to be paying for 30 of the United staff and their families to go to the final. And briefly, he spoke about that and why it was the right thing to do.
The situation is simple. You know that we had a lot of things, people leaving, a lot of changing in the staff, and in this moment for our club, sometimes it's hard to understand when to give, when to take, to respect the people that we are taking their jobs in certain moments to survive and to rebuild, and then it's hard and it's complicated for the club to start giving to other members of staff. So it's a really hard position. Then that situation was explained, and in that moment my reaction was to help, because it's not going to, I'm not a good guy, it's not going to change my life, and to help to the staff to be there comfortable, to be a better staff for the final. Then they talked to the players, and the players had the same reaction. In the same moment they had the same reaction. So everybody wants the staff there, the families there, but it's hard to manage things in our club, so it's a simple thing.
It seems to me he's saying that we can't be seen to be making people redundant at this football club, and certain numbers of us, myself included, not do anything about it. So I've stepped in and I'm doing something about it.
You can win football matches, and you wouldn't perhaps be making people redundant.
You were shaking your head during that. You're not having any of it.
I just don't know. I just think it's a stupid conversation. I don't know why you're in this conversation. I don't know why people are aware of the fact. People say, well, because if you buy 30 tickets and you give them to people privately, and you say to people, listen, this is from me to you, I don't want it out in the public domain, it's not difficult to control. The fact of the matter is, it's in the public domain. I don't even know why it's a discussion. The fact is that the reasons why Ruben Amorim might be able to buy 30 tickets is because the people have paid his wages, and they paid his wages at such an inflated level that he can afford to throw this money out of his pocket on the way down the road. I just think it's a silly conversation. I don't think it's got anything to do with anything. I don't even know why we're having this conversation about Ruben Amorim buying 30 tickets for Man United in a cup, because all that we're doing is fulfilling the agenda of the narrative that's being put out there, which is that the way that Man United are operating off the field is inappropriate. And I don't necessarily agree. I think the commercial realities are and of course Radcliffe is a commercial man, and so he will make commercial decisions about wastage and people's expenditure. Maybe you've seen something in that interview that I didn't see. I didn't think he was suggesting that because people have been made redundant, that it was inappropriate for what? You're not giving the tickets to the people that have been made redundant, are you? You're giving it to the tickets to the people that haven't been made redundant.
And funnily enough, on the playing side, as the game gets ever closer, we now know that Kulusevski will not be available for Tottenham, nor will Maddison, nor will Bergvall.
It's not helpful for Spurs.
It's kind of, is the balance swinging in the direction of Amorim and Manchester United?
Who knows in this game? It's the best of the bad bunch, isn't it? So we've seen that Tottenham and Man United can perform in these moments. We've seen Tottenham historically have choked at big opportunities. FA Cup semi-finals, Champions League finals haven't turned up.
Yeah.
So this is a different time, different space, different opposition. But both of these teams are capable of being absolutely dreadful on the night or excellent. And from that, what do you deduce? There's nothing to separate them in league form. I saw the two teams play in the Cup quarter-final in the Carabao Cup in December at Spurs. United were shocking. Shocking. Spurs beat them 4-1, and the only time they got in the game was when Fraser Forster decided, the goalkeeper, that he wanted to help them as much as he possibly could. Other than that, Man United were absolutely appalling, and Tottenham weren't much better.
Right. So what we're going to see in Bilbao, we'll find out next week. That was a roundup of football's top business stories with Tesco Mobile for Business.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.